This type of question should not come out anymore. I repeat, this type of question should not come out anymore. You will not be given a full-blown question like this anymore, really. Clear? The examiner said he promised he won't ask a 100% theory question anymore. But, of course, parts of the question can come out lah. That's why we'll just cover the question because some parts of it might be relevant, alright? Clear, not clear? Okay, so let's look at this question called Faoilean. Okay, now, the Chief Executive Officer, okay, let's look at the requirements first. With regard to one above, discuss how Faoilean may use the idea of options to help with investment decision in bidding for exploration rights, and explain the assumptions made when using the idea of options in making decisions. This is very similar to the question we saw first time, yes or not? Director, I think was it Director B or C? The idea of options, remember the 5 marks question? Is derived from this 11 mark question. Understand or not understand? It is derived from, okay. With regards to above, discuss how options could be useful in determining the value of equity and default risk, and why companies facing severe financial distress have positive equity values. And with regard to number 3 above, explain why changes in option values are determined by numerous different factors, or what Vegas determine. Okay, so what are the factors that determine the movement of an option? Discussion on what affects an option. Okay, so let's look at this one. This is question number 19. Okay, and let's look at the requirements and see. It's a very small question. Chief Executive of Faoilean has just returned from discussion at leading university on the application of the options for investment decision on corporate value. Now, this is follow through a technical article that's already available on real options, yes or no? Okay. She wants to understand how some of the ideas which were discussed can be applied to decision made at Faoilean Co. She's a little unclear about some of the discussion on options and their applications, and wants further clarification on the following. Faoilean is involved in exploration and extraction of oil gas. Recently, there have been indications there could be significant deposit oil and gas just offshore of Ireland. Okay. The government of Ireland has invited companies to submit bids for the right to commence the initial exploration of the area to assess likelihood of oil and gas, with further extraction rights to follow. Further extraction rights. Faoilean is considering putting a bid in for the right. The speaker leading discussion suggested using options as an investment assessment tool, particularly useful for Faoilean Co. in this respect. Well, you know why, right? Because you have further exploration, yes or no? So you have an option to go further. Okay, the speaker further suggests that options were useful in determining value of equity and default risk, chance of failure, and suggested that this is why companies facing severe financial distress could still have positive equity value, because their risk or options might be the reason why, the option to come out of it might be the reason why their value is higher. Toward the end of the discussion, speaker suggested changes in value of options can be measured in terms of number of factors as the Greeks, such as Vega. The CEO is unclear why options value are affected by so many different risk factors. Okay, let's go for the first one, Part A. What's the issue with Part A? Part A is about you talking about discuss how Faoilean may use idea of option in investment decision. Keyword is investment decision, correct? And bidding exploration, right? Explain assumptions made when using this idea. Okay, so let's go through this part, Part A. NPV. Okay, what's the rule here? Decision has to be made now and completed. Okay, do you remember what I just did on top there? Theory, yeah? Yes or no? All that is still theory, right? Are you okay to start? Yes, no? Well, there are some assumptions, and first part talked about NPV, normal NPV, how options add value to that. Then it talks about what are the possible options for this company, for this project. Okay, repeat again, for this company, for this project. Clear? Then it talks about the model that will be used and what are the assumptions. Okay. What can you say about most of these assumptions? Anything about these assumptions? What do you say that most of these assumptions problems are? What's the big problem with most of these assumptions? Does that make sense to you? Remember behavioral finance? We did study behavioral finance a bit, right? Those are all things that will corrupt any idea. Can next area we're looking at is going to be about the idea, about part B. Discuss how options are used in determining value of equity in default rules. So here, this is part B, value of equity. So if you got these two items, let's just use M and V here. So here we are looking at three words: equity, debt, and the value of the company. Got it? Interaction between three variables. Okay. Okay, do you understand this part now? So the idea here is, let's say if you assume there are three things involved here in a company: the market value of a company, the equity value of a company, and the debt value of a company. So the market value of an equity is like an option. Got it? Whenever the market value of the company exceed the market value of the debt, the residual is the option value, the intrinsic value. Are you okay now? The share price should be the residual value. Follow, don't follow? If the market value of the company is less than the debt value, then the shareholders have nothing. So do you remember the main thing about VSOP is time value and uncertainty, right? You are always paying extra for the option is a valuation of time and uncertainty, correct? Remember this, time and uncertainty is what your options are being valued for. So because of the options ability to look at those two things, if a company is in financial distress, financial distress, what will happen? Correct? Yes, no? Do you understand what's uncertainty value and time value now? Yes, no? Okay, repeat again. Why, in other words, the option valuation can be used for shares under a certain assumption, okay, that the value of the company, shares is going to be the residual value. The shares, equity shares is residual value after minusing off your debt, correct? So company value minus debt value equals to company value minus debt value equals to the equity value. Remember we did this for free cash flow also, right? We calculate the company value minus of the debt value, balance is always equity what? Does that make sense? Clear? So the logic is, as long as the company value is above the debt value, it's called in the money. Are you okay? As long as the company value exceeds the debt value, it's called in the money. If the company value is lower than the debt value, then it's out of the money. Okay, remember there's a term called in the money and out of the money. Options have in the money, out of the money situation. Follow, don't follow? So in this case, I repeat that, in this case, question is, how come company which is in financial distress still got shareholder value? Can you explain using VSOP? Does that make sense? So the logic is, okay, normally if financial distress, the value of the company is lower than the debt value, correct? Therefore, equity should be zero. Yes or no? Should be zero because you cannot recover already. But remember, equity is an option. Yes or no? And you still have time before the debt can collect. So time allows you to dispose and all that. So there's some valuation to the time. That will then add value from zero. From zero, suddenly you add value for the time aspect of the whole situation. Now, the next one that you have is going to be the possibility that over time, the company could actually recover their financial position and the value might exceed the debt and there is no threat. Therefore, this uncertainty value is added in. The final issue is the share price is an indication of uncertainty plus the time value. Does that make sense? Clear, not clear? Right, we're going to go to part C. What's part C all about? Done. Okay, that covers that question.